truth.
Welcome to Drop Me Off in Nashville with Scotty and friends.
Hey, welcome to Drop Me Off in Nashville. A little different than what you guys are used to, no doubt, huh? We picking up on an episode that we did a couple weeks ago with my neighbor Michael and his beautiful girlfriend Gabrielle.
Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Let's do this. It's showtime. Please pay attention. Stop what you're doing and welcome our guest.
And I had a good friend of mine and his girlfriend in, and we did a part one. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you, and they're going to then we're going to get into this interview and pick up on part two. The reason why I think it's so important is because they're both actors. Michael's a musician as well. And so they're going to teach me how this whole mess works. So without any further ado, you guys introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle.
And I'm Michael.
And you guys, remember when we picked up last time? I think we ended the interview where how you met.
Halfway. We didn't even get to the good part yet. And we didn't get to the good part.
Let's pick up on that.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Who did what here?
It's been long enough now. I don't remember where exactly we got in that story.
It's been a while, hasn't it? You guys been together.
Well, we'll just start from the top and see where it goes
start
from
the
there.
top. How do you remember it, Gabriel?
How do I remember it? Well, oh my God, it's almost been a year. So last summer was insane for me because not only were we in a play together, Merry Wives of Windsor at Theater 4, I was also shooting a movie called Thanksgiving Again, which is currently in its festival run. And then I was also debuting.
Hang on. Festival run.
Yes.
What is that?
Oh, so there was a film and it's been doing multiple film festivals. Okay. So not just showing in one, but they've been submitting to multiple.
So they put them into the film festivals, right? For the different cities, the different areas.
For sure, yeah. Actually, it just got into like Madrid, which is random.
Which is great.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So it's doing really well.
Good.
But to focus on this. So it was a crazy summer. I also debuted my one-woman show that I'm sure we'll talk about later. And he kind of was under my nose the whole time. When we talk about it, we were in similar circles, but never crossed paths. And then we also, for years, and lived at least an hour apart for that time until recently. Yeah. And so, I was very preoccupied with my own show whilst doing Merry Wives. And his impression of me was that I was shamelessly promoting it constantly.
You kind of were.
I was. No shame.
That's a good actor.
Always be plugging, as one of my favorite YouTubers, Jervis Johnson, says. Always be plugging. And it was funny because we had like a 2-week break in the middle of like the rehearsal process because the theater was being used for another one-woman show, ironically enough. And so I was like, oh, guys, come see my show. It's called My Life as an Inspirational Porn Star. And his impression was like, what the actual... heck. Yeah. I don't know if we can curse on here. I'm assuming not.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, hell yeah. So he was like, what the actual fuck is this girl's problem? And because, especially just from the title alone, it sounds like a very insane premise. But he eventually did watch it on YouTube, and I'll let you do the rest.
Yeah.
Your perspective, because I think it's even funnier.
Yeah, so things were crazy for you. Things were maybe less crazy for me, but I had just come off of doing another show, Over the River and Through the Woods.
Oh,
nice. I was the lead in that one, and that's about basically a young man who decides to move away and has to break it to his grandparents, and they're all devastated. And there's some hijinks involved. Sure. They try to set him up with an Irish girl. It was a really fun show. It was very emotionally demanding, and I was very satisfied with how that came out. And then... as a result of that, one of the cast members from Merry Wives of Windsor had come out and seen it and had, fed through the grapevine, oh, it'd be great to get him in the Merry Wives of Windsor, because they had some difficulty keeping cast members. So someone had left and they needed someone. So I said, all right, okay.
Is that normal in acting?
Yeah,
maybe
honestly,
the actor
shows,
can't.
yeah.
in big shows, this was a huge cast. I think we had like what 20 people.
It was a larger than average cast.
For sure. It was a huge cast.
So let me ask you this. Here's the reality in acting, right? Maybe some of those people who left couldn't get it, or they knew they were above their head. Do you think that ever happens? And they quietly say, I got this or I got that going on, but really the truth is they can't do it. They can't hit it. They can't perform it. They don't know the lines.
You know, funny enough, I do have like a story touching on those themes about me personally. And sometimes it's really more like schedule conflicts. Yeah. Sometimes it's just
but you're committed already.
You committed, but okay, this is like to get off topic, but this is a personal story that I have. So I was cast in a shoot that I was very excited about that involved me doing stunt training. And at first they were like, do you have any experience with this? And I'm like, kinda, but I'll figure it out. And turns out it was way more intense than I imagined. And it wasn't like I didn't try. I just ended up like spraining my ankle the second day I trained on a tire run because I'm very athletic and graceful and all that stuff, obviously. And I knew going into it, it was a challenge. But sometimes, you know, as much as I wanted to put my effort in, you know, there are things with my body that wasn't up to the skill level that they wanted. And the director and I had a good conversation. We left it on amicable terms because sometimes it's more selfish if you stay. It's like kind of like a relationship where it's like, people settle because, I don't want to leave because blah, blah, blah. But sometimes the best thing to do is for yourself and the other person is to let it go, and then they can find a better fit versus, because there is like, of course you commit, but then there are times where, it's better. It's more selfish to stay than to go. So it's all relevant. And with that show, it's a big cast. It's a lot, and we actors are, we're notoriously selfish as the stereotype goes.
We're musicians. So.
Yeah. So, and, sometimes if a project, well, if a project's not working for whatever reason, then it's better to let them find the right people for the job versus, building resentment. It's like staying in a toxic relationship. Not that show was a toxic relationship. I want to stress that.
I find though is like it's in the music industry as well. The show is called Drop Me Off in Nashville. That's why I think it's so important that you guys are on this program because you're actors. And if you're going to be in the music industry, if you're going to do a video, there's a lot you need to know, right? I mean, can you like give some pointers of the first time you were on set when somebody said, stand here and there's a reason why and when you should do and when you should not and where you should look and why you shouldn't look there? Is there any advice you guys could give like to the newest kid in Nashville who just got a deal, but now he's got to go make a video and he has no idea what to do?
Well, Gabrielle's done all the film work. I've mostly done stage work, but there is a lot of crossover. I think the biggest thing is, so there's a fine line. If you have ideas, don't come in thinking you're going to make this film or whatever amazing with your ideas. But at the same time, there are basically two kinds of people. There are the people who have ideas and just think they're going to make everything great with their ideas. And then there are the people who have good ideas but are afraid to share them.
Sure.
So there's this happy middle ground where you show up, you're humble, you're there to do the job. You want to do the job. And if you have an idea that you think might enhance it, you bring it up, but not in this sense of like, it's an attitude thing.
You bring it up to the director. Be like, so you're the star, right? Let's just say she's the singer, okay?
Sure.
And she comes in with what you just explained.
Yeah.
And she had, I kind of have, I want to walk down the railroad tracks, or I'd rather walk by the water. Would she go to the director with that, or would she? Well, how would you work that?
I mean, I've never done a music video, but generally when it comes to filming, there's a, like, if I was creating, like, I mean, the best, I guess, example I could use is my own, if I was doing my own short film, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And if I have more creative license and things, then I feel like those questions would have been done in production.
Oh, interesting.
So there's like 3 stages. There's pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production is like the ideas, brainstorming, because you're not just going to go on set
the director
and
would usually say, let's talk about, does anybody have anything they want to
and
throw out?
for sure. And then you would have a treatment, which is basically a written out plan of action, so to speak. And I would imagine all of that would be done, like storyboarding, the writing, all that jazz. And then come production, most of things are set, and I guess it just depends on who you're working with and what the, energy is. But for the most part, there are shots that need to be shot. Hit your mark because you don't know what it looks like on camera, but
What does hit your
sometimes,
mark mean?
well, when you're on like a sound stage or a set and there's an X and they're like, hey, that's your mark, stand there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like,
We pointed the lights here. We're pointing the camera here. Stand here.
and there's so much too
That's
that
the
you
idea.
don't even know what's
if
happening.
You're walking, when you stop walking, you need to end here,
Right.
right? Because that's
It's
where the camera's
blocking.
focused. That's called
Yeah.
blocking.
Mhm.
So everyone's on the
See,
same
all
page.
this- there's so much, right?
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into. You don't just walk out there, hit the button, and we're going to sing and strum our
Yeah, no.
guitar and think that that's going to. It's like a 12-hour thing, maybe for just a video. Would you
Right.
say?
I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a short shoot, if anything. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it depends, like, the set. Like, I've had, like, even for a film, like, we had a shoot day from 5 p.m. till 5 a.m.
So, what is most
Yeah.
of the time that you're waiting? Is it
Oh,
what-
it's waiting. It's all waiting.
But what happens while you're waiting? What are they doing that it drags on so long? Because that seems to be the typical thing. Like, go over here and sit. We'll get back to you when we're ready for you. What are they doing while you're sitting? Shooting somebody else?
It
or-
depends the project. I mean, for the most part, it's like, oh, we got to figure out this lighting situation. Oh, let's figure out like why
So
this
like the lights
location.
aren't clicking.
There's
That's
so
problem.
much. You are a cog in a machine
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point. Like,
Yeah.
and the whole game is hurry up and wait. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like, the actor is like, it's kind of funny the way the public perception is, because you think like, oh, these A-list actors, it's all about
Yeah, that's
them.
what I'm saying.
But when you're on a film set, it's like you are just like this one speck, and then there's so much that goes into the look and the production.
Really widens trailer for these actors that they can have a place where they can go. Oh, let me
Yeah.
just hang out here a minute.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
good for mental health and
Yeah.
all that. And I mean, I kind of have a joke too, where I imagine like the first ever film being made, where they're asking like this guy's like, "No, we'll be in this film. It's going to be great." And then the guy's like, "Why? I don't want to just stand around here all day." It's like, "No, but people are going to love you. Like, trust me, it's going to be good." Like, I just imagine like if that's what the first ever film was
Right?
like.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's why they have trailers. If you get to that, if you're even lucky to get to that point.
Yeah,
But no,
it's not easy, is it?
no.
No, but it's a climb, and that's what's the fun part, right?
Miley Cyrus said it best herself. Yes.
Yeah, she's got the 20-year anniversary thing coming out with Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana did come out. Yes.
You know what I mean? I used to watch it with my kid Jocelyn all the time. I really like that show. I'll be first to admit it.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. We'll be right back after this.
They were legends, icons, voices that shaped the soul of country music. Johnny Cash,
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Loretta Lynn,
Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter.
Now you can walk through the places they called home all in one day. Just outside of Nashville, explore Hideaway Farm, the private cabin retreat where Johnny Cash found peace, prayed, and played for friends. See his personal cars, memorabilia, and the home that held his heart. Then, just a scenic drive away, step into the story of Loretta Lynn at her historic ranch in Hurricane Mills. Tour her beautiful home, visit her museum, and stand in the footsteps of country royalty. Two American legends, two unforgettable homes, one epic day trip just outside of Nashville. Book your tours now and experience country music history up close and personal. This is more than sightseeing, it's stepping into the soul of Nashville.
Hey, welcome back to Drop Me Off in Nashville. You guys gotta apologize. We get talking about so many other things that. How did you meet? We
Wait,
can't
this is
get
an-
this question
This is an
answered.
ADHD conversation if I ever had one, which is true because we But now that I have permission to be like, no, we're talking, it's fine. But anyway, so to wrap it up real quick, we met in the show, hit it off after my one woman show. And
I feel like we're skipping over the good parts.
oh my God, then you say it.
Yeah, it was my turn anyway.
Good, go ahead.
Sidetrack.
These guys are a true couple, aren't they? You guys are going to do good together.
Yeah. So, we got sidetracked around when I was talking in the one show and then brought onto the other show because we were having trouble keeping cast members.
Yeah.
So I had actually almost worked with these folks before. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll do it. I had originally been thinking I was going to take a break. I was going to focus on my other hobbies, but it intrigued me. It was Shakespeare. So I hadn't done Shakespeare before. I thought I'd give that a try.
Jeez, Michael. Give that a whirl.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Merry Wives of Windsor was. So
Shakespeare comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I show up and it was a few weeks before we were both in the same rehearsal.
Timing.
Yeah. And then you walked in one day. I saw you and I was like, wow, she's really pretty. And then you started talking about your one woman show. And I thought, who writes a show about themselves?
So you approached Michael and said, hey, you seem more shy.
He was extremely shy, yes.
You seem shy, Michael. But when after you meet Michael, to me, and what everybody, we go to this first watch. You guys, I talk about all the time.
We are the Duchess and Duke of First Watch.
Yeah. and they
Trinity.
Favorite. And we all say the same thing about Michael. It's like, as soon as you get to know him, he's amazing. But you're a little reserved at the beginning. But then...
he was actively pushing me away. It was really funny. No, because there were points where...
Were you kind of...
No, this is what happened. I'm going to say it, and then you can chime in.
Okay.
So, because what happened was... I don't know. There was... Long story short, before I was with him, I was preoccupied with some dude that...
The military guy. Yeah.
Oh my God, I did mention that. Okay, cool. So that... And once that was over and done with, I thanked him for his service. I guess that's when I started noticing him. And so then I did try to talk to him, but he was very closed off and kind of gave me the side eye and things. And there was even one time it was really funny because I saw these beads of sweat once when we were talking. And I was like, are you nervous? And he's like, no, this is just not a breathable shirt. And I guess for some reason instead he was not being ew, get away from me, but I was like, ew, so mysterious. And so then I was just talking to him more, and there was one day where he was just like, you need to give me space, you make me uncomfortable. His exact words, he told me, you make me uncomfortable. And so then I was like, all right, screw you, I'm literally going to Edinburgh immediately after the show's over. So I wasn't even I was like, okay, whatever, he doesn't like me, moving on with my life. And then I just ignored him. Now you can.
Yeah.
Michael, I need a defense for that. That doesn't even make sense to me, man.
No, so there was a long, it was a very long, drawn out rehearsal process.
Sure.
He just condensed maybe 5 months worth of interaction.
I did, yes.
Yeah, so I saw her the first time at a rehearsal, thought she was attractive, and then there was this sort of she doesn't seem to even be aware that I exist, so whatever, I'll just focus on the show. And then I noticed at the point, I guess, after she thanked the military guy for his service, because next thing I know, I can see her head in the periphery, just turning to look at me.
Yeah.
Because there was one day you were singing something, and I was like, oh,
and your
crap,
head
we can
whipped
sing.
around. And
No, he's extremely talented.
No, I know. Well, that's one of the things I love about him, and I'm a sucker for talented men. It's been known.
When after our first show, I forgot to give you guys your gift, so I brought it over, and I went over to the house, walked upstairs, put it on your landing. And I was gonna knock on the door, but I heard the piano playing, and so I just turned around and left. And I went, the guy is just it just eases out of him. Everything you do, Michael, is art. I mean, plays, music, instruments, at church in the band, everything you do is artistic. That's just built in you, huh? Has it been like that since you've been a kid?
Yeah, I suppose. The piano. Do we have time for a sidetrack story?
Sure.
You mentioned the piano. So the piano is very special to me. It's actually a new instrument in my life, but the piano that I have in my home was my grandparents' piano.
Wonderful.
So as a child, I remember going over to their house and sitting at that very piano and just
that was
pressing
me.
keys. There was no lessons or anything. I was just pressing keys.
My mom had an organ
Mm.
at the top of this, and I thought, you hit this, and then you hit this little chord button over here, and boy, that really sounds really neat together. When you put them together, boy, that's so it's the same thing, kind of, right? You like start playing on your grandma's piano, and you go, wow, this is beautiful, and I can do stuff with it, right?
Yeah. So I had developed an interest young, but we didn't have one in my own home. So we had a keyboard at one point, but it wasn't the same. Like it didn't have weighted keys. It just didn't feel good. So, but my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and my grandfather recently moved into an assisted living type facility.
Sure.
So he had this piano and didn't have room for it in the new place. So I jumped on the opportunity to take possession of it. So now I've been taking that time to actually learn the piano. So yeah, it's like therapy. It's
how many instruments can you play? Quite a few.
So drums is where I really first developed proficiency.
Timing.
And then I've played guitar for almost as long as I've played drums, but I never got as proficient at the guitar.
Sure. The guy who owns this place, Muck Eyes,
he's
a great guitar player. When we're going to talk about Muck Eyes on another show, I'm going to bring the owner of this place in, but it's here in Newport Richie. He has a guitar. He has finger picks that he puts on all of his fingers when he plays, which is really super cool. But anyway,
I've got a set of those, but I haven't used them because I actually recently got a nylon string guitar. So I've been finger picking because on a normal acoustic guitar, you kind of need something because they'll tear your fingers up if you play with any sort of volume.
Right.
But
piano, drums,
guitar. So bass, but that's kind of a variation on the guitar. This sort of, do you want to count that as a separate instrument? I took violin lessons for about a year.
Hard instrument to play.
That is a very difficult instrument to play technically.
In Nashville, there's a lot of women that play the fiddle and the violin a lot. And a lot of them are from Minnesota. As weird as that sounds, and I don't know why that is. Maybe because it's so cold all the time they sit in the house and practice. But there's a lot of girls who get on tours from Minnesota that are extremely good fiddle players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play any instruments?
I played the recorder in 5th grade.
5th grade at the recorder.
And I tried the violin in like 4th grade. This is a really funny story. I remember vividly like trying to figure it out, but I couldn't get the fingering right. That's what she said. And I just, it's tough, but I remember like everyone else was playing it and then I couldn't figure it out and I could hear how bad it was. And I'm literally crying while playing this badly violin. And my teacher's like, something sounds wrong. And I can't figure out why it sounds bad. And I'm like, it's me. I'm bad. And like, it's crazy that he didn't even notice I was crying because I literally was like silently tears going down my face.
It's the way you push on the bow, isn't it? Or
maybe, I don't know. I was 10
I'm not talking
and
completely out of my hind end. Michael, is that true? Is it more how though you work the bow than it is your fingers?
In terms of, so the pitch is finger placement.
Yeah.
And then the quality of the tone is largely in the bowing.
Sure. Makes complete sense.
Yeah, that was my one time with the violin.
Yeah, but if you're flat or you're sharp, your finger's in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
but if it sounds like a dying animal, then your bowing is terrible.
As Brandy Jackson would say, is that his name? I was pitchy, like from American Idol.
Yeah.
I was pitchy dog, like that.
Pitchy dog.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get too sidetracked, you want to tell them about our post-show chat? Back to, since I did a terrible job explaining this story, I'm going to let Michael do it.
Yeah. So I mentioned meeting her, and then there was a point where I could tell she had noticed me. And at that point, like months had gone by of these rehearsals. So I was already just focused on the show. And then we started getting closer to the performances. So we started doing more dress rehearsal type setups where
Sure.
people are waiting for their entrances backstage, and we're not just chopping up a scene. And then Gabby comes up and just invades my space, and it's like, "Hi." Just comes up right up in my space. And
There wasn't a lot of room backstage, to be fair.
No, to be fair, but I also just naturally have a larger
Bubble?
I have a larger bubble than most. So she jumped right in there, and I got nervous.
Sure.
Pretty girls all of a sudden up in my space. And I'm trying to remember my lines. I need to hear from my cue to go on stage. So,
were you a little rude?
I mean, I tried not to be. There was several days of this.
Well, number one, you're nervous.
Yeah.
Number one, you think she's pretty.
Yeah.
But number two, you have a job to do.
Yeah.
Number three, I mean, you have a job to do. So you have all this stuff going on in your head.
Yeah.
And in her mind, she's like, we're done fooling around. We're going to meet one way or the other.
Yeah. So this went on a while before I was like, okay, well, part of it too was that the director was getting on us for missing entrances and problems that are the result of talking backstage. So
I can do both.
Yeah. So that's what everyone thinks they're the exception.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had gotten a talking to about that. So part of it was, we got to fix this. So please, I need you to back up a little. This thing.
I'm at work.
Don't stand so close to me.
Yeah. That's a good song, by the way.
So, I might have said it a little rudely. I wasn't trying to be rude. It was definitely not an effort to be like, go away, you're gross, I don't like you. It was much more like, how do I say this without being rude? And then it's not possible.
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
Now when you got a job to do.
No. So, if I remember correctly, you went off and then started to walk away, and then I grabbed you and pulled you in. So,
that was like a different moment, but same idea.
Yeah.
Because I was basically, because I said something like, oh, maybe you're just like being nice. Like maybe you're just being polite. And you're like, maybe I am. And I'm like, oh no. So I'm going to go. Because mind you, I'm very professional backstage. But yeah, I guess if you want to get personal love life wise, sometimes it's hard for me to tell whether people are just being polite versus like interested. And that was like a whole thing. So I was a little triggered there. And I was like, okay, he doesn't like me. I'm being weird. I'm going to go away now. And I was perfectly fine ignoring him after that. But then he was like, no, just kidding.
And pulled her in. And then you.
I was like, he does care.
Yeah. So
that it's kind of like a rejection, right? It's hard. Have you guys ever gotten fired from a show or?
I've never been fired from a show. I mean, I've definitely. I mean, sometimes I haven't even gotten that far in a show where it's like you audition and then you just don't
like
get
the music
in.
Industry that you have to be thick-skinned and acting.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
A lot of rejection.
Oh yeah, especially
it's mostly rejection.
Yeah,
mostly rejection.
Yeah, because there's
so the mind frame should be expect to be rejected. Hope that your performance was good enough that you don't.
Well, honestly, even when you're performing, so with auditioning, it's more about the best way I've heard it described and a mantra that I'm kind of, actually one of our teachers, Mary Rachel, she said, I've had her, you haven't had her, but she basically says is the job is auditioning and booked is the blessing.
Oh,
yeah.
Which is
good advice.
Yeah, because really acting is auditioning. Like that's the most consistent part of acting is that you are submitting tapes or going out for stuff, like just constant going. And it's a numbers game and eventually you'll get something.
Because sometimes you hear on these big interviews, like the interviewer will say, do you even audition anymore? Because they're so seasoned, they're so good. Right. Julia Roberts, I mean, do you even audition anymore? Or do they call you knowing that this is just going to work out? And I would think the answer should always be, yes, I have to audition to make sure I'd fit this, what I want to do or where I think this should go, or right?
Yeah, and then sometimes you get to a point. Yeah, it's a skill. And then sometimes you get to a point where when you network and have your people, like your go-to, like, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, like you have it's kind of more about creating your team. And then from there, building up. And I find that to be more successful in my book. Because then there have been points where I've had people ask me to be in shows because I've worked with them before, and they're like, "Oh, this person dropped out. Can you fill in?" And sometimes there was a point where I'm like, I feel like the only time I get booked is when people refer me versus auditioning.
But you know what, though? Good for you, because you've built that audience. You've built those probably fans because they like your work, which is good. Where are you guys taking your acting from here? Are you good at the community level? Are you looking to go into Hollywood?
So I guess that's a good transition of next half of our story and next the final act, I think. And then also, so my one woman show is called My Life as an Inspirational Porn Star. It debuted last year at the Tampa Fringe, and then also in the Edinburgh Film Festival. We got 4-star reviews and also awarded an almost favorite, which basically is like enough people clicked on our ad to see because they were like, what the heck is this? And so I think that was also like my attitude at the time during Merry Wives, where I didn't sound really as professional, but I think at that point I'm like, I got my own show. I'm going to Edinburgh. So whatever happens with this show, who cares? I'm going to Edinburgh. And
little chip on your shoulder.
Not even chip. Well, chip on my shoulder sounds a bit negative. It's more of, I think I was just like, so excited for the next thing. And I guess
that's a good way to put it. I'm here, so I'll finish this. But in the background, I'm thinking about this.
No, and even when he rejected me, I'm like, who cares what he thinks? I'm going to Edinburgh. I'll find some hot Scottish person that'll take my show. And I don't know. But I mean, I was very delusional at the time, because when I did do Edinburgh for 2 weeks, normally it's a month long, and I did it for 2 weeks straight, like the same show almost every day. That was a lot, because I went from feeling, I guess because I was in a semi-professional company with a company I'm already familiar with, and Dee, who was our director, she's basically like a surrogate grandmother to me at this point. So I felt very comfortable there, where Michael's like, I need to, and I'm like, these people know me. I'm going to Edinburgh. I'm great. But there was a lot of, I guess, ego death in that sense, because there I did because it's a huge festival. That's a great statement.
Ego death.
Ego death.
Yeah.
Ego.
I'm stealing that, because I know a lot of people in my life that have ego death. They just can't get past themselves. They don't realize the bigger picture or what's going on.
Well, ego death is when your ego dies, and then you realize, oh wait, because Edinburgh, it's basically the largest fringe festival.
I look at it the other way. Like your ego is going to screw up everything around you.
That's before the death.
A death by ego.
Death by ego. Yeah.
Versus ego death, which is the healthy.
The healthy way.
The healthy inverse of
I like
the death by
better.
ego.
Yeah, whatever works. But Edinburgh Fringe, specifically, that was like the world's largest fringe festival. It's like the first big shows have actually come from Edinburgh, like Fleabag, Baby Reindeer.
Wow.
Like, so for me, I was like, oh my God, I found a venue in this, which is already hard enough. And so I really did think like, oh my God, I might get famous after. Like, I really was like, not that I was doing it for that, but
pretty cool, right?
It was pretty cool. And then I realized it was much harder than I realized. And I was a tiny fish in like the Pacific Ocean. And
I use that phrase a lot. You're a minnow in a big ocean.
Yeah.
And that's what Edinburgh was for me. And so I did a lot. I accomplished a lot with like no production team and my best friend Mitch as my tag. Like we were pushed to our breaking point, but we did it.
Right.
But that was probably where I felt the most like rejected, not in the sense of like, I felt like I belonged there, because a lot of the shows I saw were very similar to mine in the sense of like theme and essence. So I'm like, I never felt like I didn't belong here. I was more frustrated in how am I not breaking through? But once again, I was, I think, very delusional at the time, which you have to be.
Almost.
And it's funny because I was in another podcast with Chris Duke, who the Scottish DJ I met up there, absolute, a really good friend that I made along there. And we had a podcast where he basically was like, you don't seem okay. Like, what's going on? And I was trying to keep it together, but I was like bawling. Well, I was bawling, and it was just more of the frustration of like, oh, I see all these other shows getting more attention, or they get the bigger venues, and I'm like, I'm barely trying to keep up, and I'm like, who's gonna go even see my show? Because there have been points I performed my show to an audience of no one.
Right.
And then I got big audiences.
To me, I think those are the best shows, because that's really going to test how really good you are.
Yeah, and when I say no one, I mean like literally no one showed up.
That happens
yeah.
in Nashville all the time. Nobody's in the club, but they're required to sit there and play.
Yeah, so
on Broadway, right by the Predator Stadium.
Yes,
Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah,
so that was
Bridgestone.
So that was literally once Merry Wives closed, and then 2 days after that show, I was on a flight to Edinburgh, then went through all of that ego death and stuff. And little did I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So backing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Once the show was underway and we were actually performing for audiences, I decided that it was time to take Miss Gabrielle out.
So Crown and Bull in Dunedin.
Yeah. And I've had some bad luck in the past, some mismatched expectations.
Sure. Happens.
So when we went out, it was a priority for me to lay like, this is what I expect. Like, if you're not okay with this, let's just end it before it starts, because it'll be much less heartbreak for both of us.
Welcome to your 30s.
Michael.
Yeah.
Hang on to that thought for a second.
Sure.
First date with Angie, I made her drive herself, and I drove myself because Gabrielle don't get mad now.
I see what you're saying, because I usually would take my own
if it
Uber.
sucks, she could just go up to the bathroom or set up and left.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have done that, but you could have, right? It's not awkward at that moment. It could have been, it's a great evening. It was great to see you. Thanks.
No, that makes sense, because I've done that
Go your
where
separate ways.
I wouldn't, like on the first day, I wouldn't normally have somebody pick me up if I don't know them. So that
And
makes
she's a Southern girl, so it's a little. I was really playing a risk here because there's traditions in Nashville but I was like, it's not clicking. I don't want her to feel awkward. It's just not fair to her, and I most certainly don't want to feel awkward. But anyway, we drove separate.
Yeah, so this was actually after one of the performances. We had a matinee on a Sunday, and then we went out afterwards, and we got to talking, and I just basically said, I'm not interested in a fling. So
good for you.
If
I want to hang out.
Mind, like if this is in your mind, if this is going to be a fling, know that's not what I want. So
you missed the funny part. Like, well, yes, that's what happened. But I was just, when we got there, I was like, thanks for taking me out. Like, I don't want to be presumptuous and call this a date. And he's like, no, it's a post-show chat. And I'm like, oh.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now I don't. Okay, whatever. Weird.
You found a gentleman.
I guess I found a gentleman, but I was a little like,
but he wasn't looking like this is a one night thing. I'm not interested.
No, well, we didn't get to that point yet. I was we literally just sat down and I was like, well, thanks for taking me out. Like, I don't want to be presumptuous.
Michael, good for you, man. I'm really happy. That's great.
He's very different from most I've dated. So a lot of my interaction was like, or reactions were like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
But that's why I categorize him as a gentleman.
No, he definitely is.
He didn't have anything else in mind, but he was generally wanted to make sure that this was going to be something that he's going to invest his time in, and didn't want you to waste yours.
And luckily, I was on the same, for sure. And I was on the same page. And funny enough, had a therapist appointment the week before where I was like, you know what, screw dating and my love life. My career is more important.
Yeah, I want to concentrate on that.
Because my show is doing more for me than any man has.
Sure.
So I was like, let's lean in on that. And my therapist was like, well, you might find someone. I was like, no, I'm not even going to attempt it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. And then a week later, he's like, hi, I want to get married and have kids. Can you down? And I'm like, yeah.
Is that ultimately the goal? You guys looking to get married one day and have children?
Yeah. That's as long as things don't fall apart between now and then.
Yeah.
You know?
It's definitely a timing issue more than anything.
Yeah, the timing has to be right. Yeah. We don't want to force anything.
And no rush. But
no, don't rush. No. Don't do that.
But once he brought that up, and I was kind of in shock, like I literally was fine without like a week ago, in the sense of I had to accept that.
Sure.
And then I was like, well, I'll be honest, my career, I was like, to be honest, my career is my priority right now, but it's not off the table. And then the energy got a less, I wouldn't say tense. There was a tension where he gets very like, this is how things must go. Yeah. But then once we are you
my full-time neighbor now? Have you moved in?
I'm mostly full. I have a few things left in my apartment, but yeah.
She got a key?
You have a key.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm in.
Gate code, yeah.
I'm in
the neighborhood.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you. Everybody's really nice. There's a few that aren't.
It's different.
But I live on other streets.
They live on other streets. Our street's been amazing.
Yeah. So we had so after we had that conversation, it ended up being like a fun time. And then he was like, "Oh, let's go watch the sunset down at the pier," because we were in Dunedin, a short walk. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." And it was the hottest day ever. So my show makeup was melting off at that point. And then we were at the intersection of Broadway and Main, and for some reason, this one light was lasting forever.
Took a while.
And I don't know, there was just one point where you're just looking at each other, and then you kissed me, and I was like, I didn't expect you to do that. And you're like, "What are you talking about? It's our first date." And I'm like, when the heck? I was like, when the fuck did that happen? He was like, "After our post-show chat." And he didn't tell me any of this. And
Only you, Michael.
No, because at that point I was like, okay, it's not a date anymore, whatever, I don't care. And then, of course, the rest is history.
Yeah.
So now we're caught up. We did it. Oh, until Edinburgh, actually.
Oh, yes, right.
So then flash forward, I was like, okay,
Yes.
fine, bye. I can't do anything serious till after Edinburgh. Peace out.
Yeah. So we did have a couple more dates before the end of the show.
Yeah, 2 more weekends of the run.
And then the show ends, and then you're on a plane 2 days later
Yeah.
to Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was kind of thinking it'd be neat to go to Edinburgh. I've never been to Scotland, but I'm also thinking it's like I've been on 3 dates with this girl. That would be a lot of money to spend. I'm like, well, what if I could go without spending money? I had just got a rewards card because like a travel rewards card because I have to front money for my hockey team.
Sure.
Because I'm the manager / captain for a hockey team. So every 12 weeks, I got to front several grand just so we can all play. I get paid back, but it kind of hurts to be out that cash.
Absolutely.
So I got that and thought, maybe this will come in handy. And then I plotted it out and I managed to actually travel to Edinburgh for $0 out of pocket.
Excellent. Did you go?
I did, yes. And I surprised her with it. She had no idea I was coming. It was actually after she left by the time I made the arrangements for it. Because I had looked and thought, oh, no, this doesn't seem to work. And then I looked again, and then I looked again. And then finally I got a hotel, and I was able to get the arrangements. And then I couldn't talk to her without just smiling ear to ear. I don't know if you can hear it through my
you still do that.
So, yeah. So...
Well, it was funny because we were talking like Instagram direct message just because foreign country, Wi-Fi, all that jazz. And so, as I mentioned before, I was going through my ego death being.
You were going through a rough time.
Because it was before I got like a review.
Show up then. What a friendly face.
Oh, it was. So that was funny because it was a day that I was like video recording my show. And my family decided to make a Euro trip out of it. So my sister was in Amsterdam and Paris with her friend. My parents hung out in London and did the West End. And then they came for my last weekend. And so at that point, I was just feeling like run down. But I was still like, I got to keep pushing. But just the exhaustion and the oh my God, blah. And so we're messaging and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I should tell you, I'm at JFK right now." I'm like, "Oh, where are you going?" He's like, "To Edinburgh. I'm going to be in at 9 a.m. And I'm like, what? And my best friend Mitch so we were sharing a hotel room. They were right there. And I'm like, "Mitch, Michael's going to be here tomorrow." And they're like, "What?" And so we're like, "Wait, is this a red flag? Is this psychopath?"
Yeah.
And because my family, it was like a scene from a rom-com where it's like, oh my, even Mitch was like, "Okay, we got to call Chloe, my younger sister." And so then we call Chloe on WhatsApp. And so I'm like calling Chloe. I'm like, "Chloe, you know that Michael guy I've been telling you about?" And funny enough with Chloe, she's a Scorpio, so very intuitive. She actually told me that every guy I've dated, she's had a bad feeling about, except Michael. She would instantly know whether it was going to last or not. But with Michael, she was like, "He's good." I approve before any of this even happened.
He's good.
And so I was telling Chloe about it. I was like, "Yeah, he's coming in tomorrow." Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, that's sweet. But we should talk to Mom." Because we're like, "Yeah, and they're like, "Wait, how long have you guys been dating?" I'm like, 3 weeks. It's like, "Okay, yeah, we got to talk to Mom." And so then we could add my mom to the group, the WhatsApp group chat. And I was like, "Chloe, you got to tell her." Cause I can't, I was in too much shock. And then Chloe's like, hey, Mom, you know that guy Gabby's seeing? And my parents actually technically met Michael during the show. Like, after I was just like a quick, like, this is who he is. And then my dad's like, okay. And then I was like, nice to meet you, you know? And so that was a quick thing. And so Chloe tells my mom, like, yeah, so Michael's coming to Edinburgh. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, that was her first reaction. Then she goes, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. That's the reaction.
Yeah, and my dad's like, good man.
Yeah.
Good man. And then we call my grandma, and of course she's like, oh, what a romantic gesture. Like, it turned into this whole thing. And so he comes in 9 a.m. Poor thing is so jet lagged.
That's our society, though. Society has taught us that that's a bad thing. But honestly, if you knew Michael prior, to me, that's his heart. That's who he is.
It's a completely romantic gesture.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
But I've dated psychos, so it was hard to tell.
That's what I'm saying. That's what society has taught us, that, wow, what's going on here? This seems a little...
It's not just society. It's actual personal experiences.
So it makes it really tough. Mm-hmm. So let's get back into this acting thing.
Yeah, that's basically long and short of it. He surprised me, and it's super romantic, and now we finished the story. Yay!
Well, and while you were talking to the family, I had no idea what was going on. I was just sort of like, oh yes, I just told her about the surprise, and I'm at a steakhouse, a steak restaurant inside of JFK Airport. I'm just eating the steak. She's going through all of this stuff going on, and as far as I know, everything's positive.
Fine. Yeah,
I mean, I was just in total shock.
Yes.
But yeah, we can go back to acting now. Now we're all caught up.
That's an amazing story, and it's been about a year.
Not even. It's because it's only
August.
That was August.
Yeah, August.
So almost a year.
When you met. So you guys been dating about it.
Since July, 7 months.
Eight-ish months.
Yeah,
that's great. So let's go back into this acting thing.
Okay.
Rejection, we talked about that. That's got to be really tough. What about advice? Do you have any advice that you would give a new actor today?
One of my favorite things is also that rejection is actually redirection. Because there are a lot of times where I audition for something, or for some reason something doesn't work out, where I'm like, oh, I wish I did audition for this thing, or oh, it's a shame I didn't do this. But then then something comes up. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm glad this happened. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do X, Y, and Z. And the right thing will find you. It's going to take time. So,
What about you, Michael? Have you experienced a lot of it, or?
I've mostly done unpaid community theater type stuff. I guess there's really two things, two pieces of advice that I think are easy to hear, but you still have to learn them experientially. So one of them is, it's okay to suck. Everyone sucks at some point. No one comes out of the womb fully formed. So go out there and suck. It's okay. You'll get better. That's
okay.
Sucking is part of learning.
Right.
If you don't, then...
Great advice.
The other thing is, don't get married to a gig.
It's just a gig.
It's just a gig. And
it'll pass.
That doesn't mean be flippant or dismissive of any gig. You need to treat every gig with the sort of respect and professionalism that it deserves. But it's a gig. So if it's not working, if there's something not right, walk away.
Without shame.
You do need to be thoughtful and considerate about whether you should walk away.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I said maybe some people have that theory and I said, why do they just leave? And you guys were talking, well, maybe it was commitment, maybe it was something, maybe that's a part of it as well, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with any advice, there's always, the audience for the advice, and then the people who you don't want to be flaky.
No.
But you need to be honest with yourself and thoughtfully consider whether it is the right move.
It's one of the biggest things that I tell people in Tennessee. It's like, I know it's fun to sing karaoke. I know it's fun to win first place.
Yeah.
I get it.
It is.
But when you get to Nashville, karaoke doesn't matter. It's the American Idols, all the shows you see on television. We know who's going to do what, when, where, and why. And insiders. And it's one thing if you can copy a Carrie Underwood. It's another thing if can you sell a song like a Carrie Underwood could with your vocal, your style. That's where the money is. Copying somebody else, there's no money in that. Being original, being an actor, being able to sell yourself as a performer, being able to sell that record with your vocal, that's when you know that you got something. And that's very hard to get to. Yeah. And rejection's going to come with that. And hopefully, I hope that a lot of people look at themselves in the mirror and go, maybe this isn't for me. Right. I'm good. I'm a great karaoke singer. I could learn how to be a great performer in Nashville. And I could take those two things and go home and probably make $3,000 to $6,000 a night because I'll be very famous in my hometown because now I know how to perform. And I think maybe there's a lot of that even in local acting, right? Because you can have a nice life doing this locally, right? Couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because my career, I do IT stuff, and it pays the bills and I enjoy it. And then I enjoy acting and performing music as a hobby because I don't think I was cut out to do what the actual job is, which is auditioning. It's showing up. It's networking. Right. It's everything but the actual, you have to have some level of skill. Right. You can't just show up and, well, I don't know, arguably some people manage to make it without a whole lot of skill. But
isn't that weird?
It is weird, but then that goes for acting and music. But the career path in art is the networking, the pressing the flesh. It is showing up and being good to work with. It is all of those other skills that get you the next gig.
What's more important, networking or connections?
I'm more of a connections person.
Connections.
Because I feel like that's more sustainable. I mean, yeah, there's networking in the sense of putting yourself out there and being able to talk to other people and all that. But I think for me, like I work better with one-on-one stuff. And when I've tried networking, it didn't feel authentic to me. I'd rather forced. And I mean, as ironic as this is, I do struggle socially at times. So I feel like for me, like to find the right people is to find people that understand me and I understand them. And that is more sustainable than a network connections. We don't want it to be transactional per se.
Right. So don't you feel that when she makes it, because you have somebody who's going to support you no matter what.
I know.
That's something that you can't buy.
Ugh, I don't want to cry.
You can't buy that. It's very unique. It's very special. And it's something that should be cherished. We'll be right back after this.
You're tuned in to Drop Me Off in Nashville with Scott and friends. I think they've been dropped off at a few Nashville bars themselves.
Hey, this is Tommy Two-Tone, and you're listening to.
Check us out.
Hey, this is Amber Marie.
This is John O'Baney.
Hey, this is Sammy Kosar.
Hey, this is Howard Decker with the Straight Country Tribute Band.
Hey, this is Julie Black.
And this is Dave Eichenberger.
Hey, I'm Scott Collier.
This is Ashley Lynn.
Hey, this is Frankie Justin, and you're listening to Scotty and Friends.
Scotty and Friends.
With Scotty and Friends.
Hey, this is Mike Estes, and you're listening to Drop Me Off in Nashville podcast with Scotty and Friends.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Hey, welcome back to Drop Me Off in Nashville. You guys, we had a great interview the first time, and we kind of rushed in, but I wanted to get you in because we tried really hard for scheduling, and with you guys being both so busy, it was hard. So for you guys to come in here was great.
And
you just came in with a great hockey shirt on from Stan Coast,
and
then this because of the game tonight, and it didn't even, you probably didn't even blink an eye. Me, I brought 12 different shirts going, what one should I be wearing? And because I don't know what's going to look crazy, what's not.
Well, he plays everything by the seat of it. He doesn't think about anything. He kind of just, I wouldn't say you don't think about things, but because there are things even like at your recital where like you were doing segues. Actually, recital is not a nice thing to call it.
No, it was a performance.
Performance, excuse me. That was a bad, performance.
I was emceeing and flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't plan out anything. I would just go up and then say my thing and transition to the next song.
And the audience loved it. So sometimes that works.
Organic.
It depends.
Yeah.
But for me, I do like to plan things out a bit. Like and especially with like my own show, like we'll get into, like it's been through multiple iterations now at this point, and each run I learn something new and then I tweak it after each run. Now, you don't want to change it during the run because then it gets a little too chaotic and stressful, but at least, okay, what did we like in this run? What didn't we like? What are we adding? What are we taking away? That helps evolve it.
It's a lot. We got cameras, we got lights, we got all this.
Yeah.
We got AI cameras everywhere. So I want to get in a couple more things. Okay?
Yes.
Then I'll let you guys out of here. Hockey. Who's going to win the Stanley Cup 26? Don't say Tampa if it's not going to be Tampa because you're a fan. Who do you really think?
Watch it be the Sabres.
Sabres would be a hell of a team.
That would be crazy. But
Colorado.
For the plot, it'd be good.
I am hoping we get a rematch of Tampa, Colorado, because that was
hell of a series.
That season was my first season actually going to hockey games, because that season opened on my birthday. And I went and I watched the Lightning present the Stanley Cup, having won it the second time in a row, and they raised the banner, and I had so much fun.
You told me that. I remember that. You told me that.
Followed the whole season, and then the playoff run was just so intense. And it was. I've been chasing that dragon ever since.
So much better at the arena than on TV.
And I was there when the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup from the Lightning. At what was then Amalie Arena.
So who do you think?
So that's why I want a rematch, because
you think we can take?
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to know now, because there are things that are going to happen through the course of the playoffs. Players are going to get injured. It's just calls are going to go bad. Calls are going to go right. You know, it's impossible to predict, but. It's going to be a good one. That much I think
Sabres, Colorado are my two who I think. I don't like either team, but that's who I think. We have the Predators tonight in town, right? Yeah. You guys are going to go to the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great.
I'm wearing my Stamkos jersey.
You're going to wear it proud where he steps on the ice in that Predators jersey. I think he's going to get a standing O.
Oh, and he did last season.
He did.
And he got more than a standing O. So the Lightning are always very good about tribute videos to players, because pretty much everyone wanted Stamkos to stay. They just couldn't agree on the numbers. And
it's business.
It is. And I think there was I get the impression it was also a little bit personal, at least for Stamkos, feeling like, like, I love this franchise. I want to stay. I want to be here. They had a good relationship for all that time, and I think more than the numbers, he felt insulted.
Yeah.
The numbers were part of the insult, but it wasn't like...
Rightly so.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I've been your captain for how long?
He's a hell of a player.
So, it was... No one wanted to see him go. So, when he came back last season, we did the tribute video, gave him a standing ovation, and then the whole arena chanted Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, after that. I bet he loved it.
And actually, so interestingly enough, I managed to see his first game as a Predator, Nashville Predator.
You went up there, right?
Yes, because we had Hurricane Milton at the time. That season started with 2 hurricanes that hit our area here. And my brother and I went to Nashville to escape Milton.
I love playoff hockey. I love it.
We went to their season opener and saw Stamkos.
Anything you want to plug? Got anything going on?
Yes.
Oh, Gabby.
So as I mentioned before, my one-woman show, My Life as an Inspirational Porn Star, is continuing its tour. Last time we talked, I had a short run in Clearwater at Theater 4, theater where we met. But now it'll be in the Orlando Fringe Festival, May 15th, 17th, 19th. And then the 23rd and the 24th,
Orlando,
which is, so we'll be all over Florida by this point. And then the biggest one that we're really excited for is Toronto. That'll be late June, early July. Don't know the exact dates yet, but there'll be 8 performances. So, and he's very excited about Toronto. He's like, we're going to go to these hockey
Hall of Fame.
and Toronto is a cool city.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like New York City, but in a different dimension.
Yeah,
like that's
I'm
what
going
Canada
I'm going
feels
to
like.
New York in a week.
Yeah. Oh, love it.
Yeah. One of my artists is doing a showcase in front of like 30 different executives. Pretty exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
Toronto.
you're busy.
Yeah.
What's tonight? Well, funny.
You're going. You have a gig after this?
Yes,
and then you're going to the
I
hockey
do.
game?
Yes, I do. So I'm doing a passion project with one of my acting friends. It's a short film about his father was 15 on dialysis, like he had kidney issues. And so I'm playing, I guess technically David is the director. I'm playing his grandmother, but it's the mom it's a period piece. So it's set in the 60s, hence the wing and the pearls.
You have all those lines memorized in your head?
There's not that many lines, but we'll figure it out.
Do you help her with lines?
I haven't. No, actually.
Like
No.
you don't have them read with you?
For
You know,
film,
like when I
it's pretty
when I would
easy.
watch Friends and Joey would make somebody read with him. I always think of that.
Well,
think
when
it's just so funny.
when I start getting more settled in his place and I have an audition set up, and then when I feel like I'm probably not going to audition really for anything until after Toronto, just because I'm very busy with my own show.
Like how good to have somebody who kind of gets it.
Oh no,
You know what I mean?
He helped me with audition once, I think, last year,
I'd
and it
be
was very
like,
funny.
let's see, Gabrielle, move to the left. Okay.
No,
he would know exactly how to read that script and what to do and how to handle it.
Yeah, no, he read a couple things for me, and it was fun. I didn't book him yet, so I'm on the fence about it. No, I'm kidding. But no, the lines part, it's not too bad. I'm pretty good when it comes to memorizing, but yeah, for
I think that'd
reading
be hard for me. Maybe it's like, I wonder if it's like playing an instrument. You just start learning the chords. You just start to know. It's like an instrument in your head. You start to know it. You feel it. You remember how you're going to remember it.
Well, acting, your body's an instrument, and especially when you get your mind-body connection down, it's like you have the certain beats of like, oh, what am I trying to do here, and what the arc is, and now I've gotten to a point where it's like, okay, if I want to feel angry, I need to feel like this heat in my chest and my throat, and then
It's
if I
actually
want,
like you think that, like I have to feel this. So like you said, something was very emotional in one of your plays, so you had to realize how you were going to sell that line with emotion, right?
Yeah.
You notice something in your mind that makes you emotional?
depends what you got going on.
Yeah, for that one, Over the River and Through the Woods, so it's a great show. If you see a performance, if you see it anywhere, you should go see it. But basically, at the end, they do sort of a, moving on, and the grandparents pass away, and my grandparents had just recently passed away, several of them. So I
relate.
Yeah, I was able to draw on that experience and put it in. So
hey, thanks for all the advice today. Thanks for finishing your story. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for being cool neighbors. Probably see you at First Watch. Next meal's on me if I see you.
What time is it? I think we're gonna go there now if I have time.
Don't see you go now. I got another show. You're going to be jealous.
Well, because I have the next shoot too, so I'm like, if I can squeeze a lunch in there, that'd be nice. Otherwise, I'm going straight to my shoot, and then I'll meet him at the Lightning game. That's my Sunday. Fun day.
Great people, great neighbors. Glad you guys met. Thanks for watching Drop Me Off in Nashville. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining Scotty and Friends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join the Drop Me Off in Nashville family. Engineering and production provided by Podcast Production Music.
Well, Nashville, can't thank you enough for all the time.
Y'all come back now. Here?